During the Fort McMurray Wildfire of 2016, one of the largest cities in Alberta, Canada, had to be evacuated entirely in a single day. This comprehensive dashcam footage was taken as one resident escaped ahead of the flames and captures the hectic conditions of the evacuation and the circumstances under which it took place. On May 4th, when the mandatory citywide evacuation was declared, the wildfire had burned 25,000 acres of land. The day after that, it burned 10 times that figure, taking 2,000 homes with it. No deaths occurred as a direct result of the wildfire, but as you can probably imagine, 2 people died from a rear-end collision on a road clogged with traffic as the inferno approached the city limits. As California's deadliest wildfire began near the city of Paradise early in the morning of November 8, 2018, Deputy Aaron Parmley of the Butte County Sheriff's Office was tasked with evacuating Feather River Hospital directly in the path of the oncoming blaze. Eventually, the engine in his cruiser stopped working as it became choked by the smoke-saturated air, forcing him to get out and brave the smoke, flames, and embers with no oxygen or protective clothing close at hand. Convinced that he was going to die, he activated his body camera to showcase the circumstances that he thought would kill him as he walked through a city that became a shell of its former self within a handful of hours.
Oh, there's Avers. Oh, that's not good. County 13 is bad. Hey guys! Walk towards the left. Are you coming for us? Come on. Watch out! Watch out! Yeah!
Against all odds, he eventually located the individuals he was supposed to evacuate in the most difficult and trying of conditions. Even still, the evacuation itself was not without its dangers, as over 40,000 people and their vehicles spilled onto a handful of narrow mountain roads, with 8 people dying in the process. Nevertheless, the exodus was far safer than remaining in the town, where 70 others would perish that day. 6.5 years later, with most of its pre-existing buildings gone, and most of the population relocated elsewhere, the city of Paradise has still not fully recovered to this day. The survivors will surely never forget the memories of a day that destroyed 95% of their community in less than 2 hours. This terrifying forest fire was deliberately set as part of a series of tests into the conditions and mechanisms of crown fires in the northern Canadian wilderness. Upon ignition, the forest in the camera's field of view was consumed within minutes, if not seconds, reaching a temperature of 900 degrees Celsius. The effects of such temperatures on living tissue in such a short window of time would be beyond imagination. Ultimately, the contents of this video remain a chilling exhibition of what a wildfire looks like from inside the inferno, at ground level, directly in the epicenter of the blaze. For much of the year, Australia suffers some of the worst wildfires on Earth. On November 25, 2015, the Pinery fire was accidentally ignited in the South Australian countryside and swiftly grew into a massive inferno that scorched 210,000 acres of wildland. On the first day, this fire was described as a 2-kilometer-long wall of fire with flames taller than buildings. This video was taken from a fire truck on its way to evacuate properties in the fire's path 1 hour after it began. However, the responding firefighters were quickly taken by surprise as choking smoke soon made it impossible to drive. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, the fire devoured its way through the dry grass towards them, with utterly terrifying results. As the flames approached, the firefighters in the recording truck attempted to shelter in place, stopping the truck and pulling down fireproof blankets over the side windows as they put on their breathing masks. Outside, the fire engine's sprinkler system was activated to keep the truck from catching fire. However, the small utility truck in front had no water, and the fire engine in the middle had a malfunctioning sprinkler, leaving the men inside it at the mercy of the blaze. When the wall of flames started to burn over the road, the result was an utterly chaotic scene that put every fireman present in danger.
Here it comes, the head's coming. Nick, slow down. We're going to go in a burn over very, very quickly now. Here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. Get the fucking front burn. 500 Burn over, Scotty, burn over. Burn over, Scotty. Fuck me! Jesus Christ! Jesus fucking Christ! Turn it up!
General broadcast, if any units are out there.
I've activated Moto. Who's out the back?
We are on Mosley's Road, Woolsheds. Our son gave over.
I got your time, mate. Where's Daniel?
Roger, Mosley's Road, Woolsheds, not for accounted for. Let this thing go fast, Roger,
have a regulation of McDonald's and Dashley in back of us. Who's in front of us? I have two men out of the replies. I've got no idea where they are.
Roger, Wilson 115, any further transmissions in further time.
The utility truck fled back the way it had come, and the other fire engine attempted to find a way out of the flames through the blinding smoke ahead. For hours afterward, the fate of these firefighters was unknown. Fortunately, no injuries were reported, a miracle under those circumstances. The fire moved so quickly that it did not have time to set the trucks ablaze, nor the firemen with them, but sadly, 2 people would ultimately perish in the Pinery fire. 90 more had to be hospitalized, and hundreds of buildings were burned to the ground. The inferno was so fierce that it took a week and 1,700 firefighters to fully contain and suppress. During the summer of 2020, the state of Oregon suffered its worst fire season of all time. when over 2,000 separate fires were recorded, destroying a colossal 1 million acres of wildland. The fire in this footage was the product of several different wildfires that burned over 400,000 acres and 5 communities off the map during the last half of the year, and taking almost 4 months to fully contain and extinguish. This tower-mounted forest camera, located in the closed area of the forest, shows a glimpse into hell from inside the exclusion zone, immediately next to flames that quickly become as tall as the trees themselves. The inferno steadily surrounds the tower on which the camera is mounted, licking its way up the trees until the device goes offline, succumbing to the heat of the blaze. This video was taken during the 2014 Beaver Fire in Northern California, near the state line with Oregon. On August 11th of that year, nearly 2 weeks after the fire began, 3 wildland firefighters were constructing a fire break against the blaze in Klamath National Forest. However, the fire approaches them at an unnerving rate of speed, clearly far more quickly than anticipated. The camera turns off as they prepare to deploy their portable fire shelters behind the truck and under their bulldozer. However, fire shelters are not made to withstand the direct heat of the flames, but to trap breathable oxygen for the person inside them and to reflect the heat of the fire from a distance. They get under their shelters with only seconds to spare, and the inferno that arrived burned around and over them for about 20 minutes before subsiding.
We need to boogie out of here. Hey, Ray, are you on deck? Good. Hey, well, me and my engine we're good here. We are good. Carson, you with them? Yeah, I'm gonna stay with them. We're good. Okay. I'm not sure if we can do anything with this blaze here. 52, crew 52. Alpha, it's here. You might want to keep moving. Engine 52, crew 52. Get to the engine, face to face. Woo! Get Victor, let's go.
Yeah, we do. That's going to save us, I think, get some heat off of it. Ah, hell, this is nothing. Woo, dang.
After an agonizing 20 minutes, the firemen in this video emerged from their shelters to find that the trees around them had been stripped bare by the flames, and their truck had partially been scorched and melted down. However, the front of the fire had passed, and the air was much cooler and easier to breathe. Needless to say, even a few moments later, the outcome outside of the shelters could easily have been deadly. The fireman operating the bulldozer sustained burn injuries to his legs, as he was the last to take cover. All told, over 30,000 acres of wildland were burned by the Beaver Fire before it was declared contained on September 2nd, 2014. On New Year's Eve of 2019, 3 fire engines of Australian structure firefighters were dispatched to assist wildland firefighters tackling the South Nowra fire in New South Wales. As they traveled through the forest to their destination, the front of the fire set the forest ablaze on both sides of the road, turning it into an oven from which there was no escape but to drive straight ahead through increasingly thick smoke. The firemen drove as far as they could before the heat became too much for them and their trucks to endure.
Returning back to Lockwood, hang up.
Watch 38 coming down.
Is on the road already.
Eventually, the fire engines themselves ground to a halt as their metal parts warped in the heat, and the trucks began to melt down from the outside. One of the firemen communicated over the radio that they were preparing to evacuate their trucks and make it out on foot. Several of them called or texted their family members in case they did not survive, as they donned their full protective equipment and prepared to brave the nightmarish conditions outside.
Fire comms. Does anyone copy on this channel? Red.
Yeah, fire comms. Pass your red message. Identify yourself and pass your red message.
This is STP-48. We are part of Strike Team Golf. We are on Haynes Road. Our truck and Pump 211 Bravo are inoperable. We have been overrun. Our trucks will not move. Our trucks are catching alight. We need immediate assistance. Over.
Fire comms STP-48. Yourself and 211 Bravo overrun. Trucks are broken down. Need immediate help. Is that correct? Over. You sheltering in the vehicles? Over.
Affirmative. We are sheltering the vehicle. We do not know how much longer we'll be able to shelter. The main fire front has passed. We are considering using BA to go out on foot as the main fire front has passed and our truck is on fire.
Fire comms STP-48. Understood. You may use BA to get out of the vehicle. We'll endeavour to get assistance as soon as possible.
I'll give you my exact coordinates. I'm at latitude 34, well, minus 34.97084.
Come on, boys! Come on, let's go!
The firefighters in the footage safely abandoned their trucks and began forging their way through the hellish landscape. Although the front of the fire had passed by that point, during their trek through the burn area, the firemen remained in serious danger from falling trees, ash pits, running out of oxygen, and higher than normal ambient temperatures from the burnover. In the end, they made it out alive with no injuries or deaths, but when they returned to the area the next day, they found that their trucks had been burned to a crisp. The Australian bushfires of 2019 to 2020, also known as the Black Summer, resulted in the deaths of 479 people, 6 of whom were firefighters, the destruction of 9,300 buildings, and the deaths of over 1 billion animals. It was Australia's worst fire season in 4.5 decades, and the second worst in the nation's history. The Smokehouse Creek Fire holds the distinction of the largest wildfire in the history of Texas. Its burn area included almost all of the land in Hemphill, Roberts, and Hutchinson counties. Within 24 hours of ignition, the fire scorched more acreage than in the rest of its 3 weeks of life. One rancher's security cameras recorded the advance of the fire outside the town of Canadian, when a sudden wind shift pushed the front of the fire straight towards his property. Minutes after this occurred, the flames, moving at speeds of up to 60 miles per hour, tore across the ranch, creating scenes that are the terror of every person in fire country. Although the fire reached the house and the outbuildings did not ignite due to their metallic siding, the speed of the flames, and the varying intensity of the fire around those structures. Most importantly, the owner was not hurt. However, the ranch and the surrounding landscape were left unrecognizable. The Smokehouse Creek fire left $1 billion worth of damage in its wake, and became the second largest wildfire in American history, at least for now. Every year, the landscape and people of California endure wildfires that are seemingly unprecedented in their scope and intensity. This video was taken from a wildland firefighter's utility truck that was one of many vehicles responding to the Antelope fire in Northern California's Siskiyou County. The week that it was recorded, this particular wildfire doubled in size and had defied nearly all attempts at containment for a month. Although it starts the video on the horizon, the inferno reaches the left side of the road within 90 seconds, leaving the crews little to no time to deploy any portable fire shelters that they might have had. The best alternative they had was to stay in their vehicles, which at least had some hope of outrunning the fire, rather than starting the time-consuming process of setting up a shelter. However, the fire was far ahead of them, and as flames taller than buildings boxed in the firefighters, speed was no longer a guarantee of escape, as visibility became scarce, slowing down the vehicles and cramping the space between the fire trucks. The danger of the heat and smoke were amplified as the frontal winds fanning the blaze and the airflow generated by the firestorm were so strong that the truck could barely stay on the road, placing the firefighters at imminent risk of entrapment and incineration.
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, this was all fine when we were driving down here 2 hours ago. And I guess when it got away from us back there, went a little bit deeper interior and just...
Task Force Leader, Cannon, knife up. You guys headed out yet?
Rip it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and head out. Fire's gonna bump the road here in a few minutes.
Yeah, it's bumping the road now. You think we can catch it? We got 400 gallons. We're good to go.
A couple bladder bags. See, it can start burning out.
244, engine 1671. Keep driving as fast as you can. Come on.
Yeah.
Brake. Engine 341. Where are you at?
Yeah, we need to go. This guy's driving slow, but we need to get the f*** out of here.
Engine 350. Section 14 yet?
That's hot.
Montana 244, back up.
Drive. Drive, bro. Holy.
Engine 334, 1671. Where are you? Are you in section 14 yet?
Go.
Hey, 334 turn
Go,
around, head
dude.
the other way.
This guy needs to
Heading
drive.
north? We're gonna start heading south.
Oh.
See, we're backing up. We're cut off from heading north out of
Holy.
Copy that. Yeah, we're just gonna turn around.
Turning around is not an option. Yeah.
In Chicago, where you guys are?
Go, 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 go. Go, go, go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh. Road. Yep. Get on the road. Oh. Come on. Get on that road.
I'm trying.
Oh. On that road. Get out of here.
Hey, help! I'm down, man. Stop! I'm down!
Oh my God. Holy.
Stop! I'm here!
Yeah,
Oh.
we might have lost some people.
Oh, dude.
I think everyone burned over.
Holy. Go. Go. Holy. Dude. Oh my God.
You guys open that door there!
Oh my God, dude.
I wouldn't be surprised if that tinder and stuff burns over.
Oh. Holy dude.
Against all odds, after several delays, blockages, and turnarounds throughout the convoy of fire vehicles, the firemen barely managed to escape the horrific predicament with their lives. Incredibly, for such a near miss, nobody was killed in the incident, but one fireman who deployed a fire shelter behind his water tender suffered moderate burn injuries from the encounter. Luckily, the fire was contained without further casualties among fire personnel or the general population. Nevertheless, extreme fire behavior and difficult terrain made the process of containment a slow one, and the Antelope fire was only finished off in mid-October, after burning 145,000 acres over the course of 2 months, during an already record-breaking wildfire season for California. As ordinary people evacuate from wildfires and other such disasters, emergency personnel are often heading in the opposite direction to ensure that they and others have made it safely out of harm's way. When the Remington fire began in Wyoming, it burned 18,000 acres on its first day, and the next day, that figure jumped to 150,000 acres. Rosebud County Sheriff's Deputy Joshua Jonas was driving to evacuate a campground in a large wilderness recreational area in the path of the fire. His task took him on a thin, winding dirt road in the middle of a forested mountain valley, one of the most dangerous places to be in a wildfire, and worse still, in a police cruiser, a vehicle incapable of surviving direct, sustained exposure to such a force of nature. Although flames were distantly visible through the trees on his way in, Jonas chose to brave them and continued to look for any stranded campers, assuming that there was no large fire ahead, and that the lingering flames he could see would not cut off his escape route before he could make it back. Periodically, he encounters wandering livestock who were likely either set loose by nearby ranchers or fled their burning pastures before the fire overcame them. As events unfold in the footage, either outcome is an eerie omen of what could be on the way. As Jonas proceeds on, the flames disappear, but over the hills in the distance, a large column of fast-moving, reddish-gray smoke is billowing on the horizon. After stopping and hesitating for half a minute, no flames are immediately visible, and he decides to cautiously drive onward. Only then did it become apparent just how serious the danger was. The fire crested the hilltops less than a minute after Jonas decided to drive further down the road from where he had initially stopped. It steadily becomes more difficult and dangerous for Jonas's police cruiser to make it down the narrow, unpaved road. Not wanting to be trapped alone with the wildfire in a narrow, vegetation-filled valley, Jonas tries to back up on the thin dirt road, which becomes ever more difficult to see, going forward or backward in the thickening smoke and flames. When he drives back the way that he entered, he discovers that his entry route has been engulfed by the fire in the several minutes since he left it. The entire nightmarish experience lasted only 9 minutes, but it must have felt like an eternity. Deputy Jonas emerged unscathed from the fire's burn area, but the footage shows just how much more dangerous events could have become. Perhaps unsurprisingly, the day on which this was recorded was the single worst day of the Remington fire, when it scorched nearly 3/4 of the total area that it damaged.